Well, hello, everybody. I'm so glad you're here with us today on this beautiful Valentine's Day. A little bit of all kinds of weather everywhere. I've got wind here in Florida, a little bit of sun, and back home I have snow. We've had it almost 3 weeks. And I just wanted to say hello and say I'm Thayne Westerman, and I'm so excited to be here with Anne Rodolph and just excited to hear more about our topic of love. So go
Of
for it.
course, the topic of the day, love.
Ooh.
And I find most people don't realize that love expresses itself based on our stage of soul development or psychological development. To me, same thing. Soul is our psychology. And when we're stuck at really young stages, for example, it means that we've had so much trauma and people tend to dehumanize from the trauma. They get rid of the sensitive parts of themselves and they automatically do to others what was done to them, like a machine. So a boy might be brutalized, and his dad says, I'm doing this because I love you. A girl may be molested and told, I'm doing this from love. So love gets paired with abuse. And so they have the opposite definition of love from most people. And do you see this in society where, like in the field of medicine, I see children being injected with toxins and their parents think they're loving the child by doing that.
Mm.
And sometimes it hurts the child for the rest of his or her life. So it's important to know where we are in our development. So that's the youngest stage, which I call the mineral stage. And then the next stage is the vegetable stage. And these are people think of a plant where you have an appearance of a beautiful plant, and underneath the roots are in the dirt. And it's actually the opposite under the ground, what's on top, as far as the direction going up with the plant and the roots going down. A person has a split personality. And what you see on the surface is the opposite of what's in their unconscious mind. And these people tend to split everything into good or bad, right or wrong, very rigid ways of black or white seeing things. And love for them is by appearance. And I'm thinking of a man who once gave me all his examples of loving his wife, and he had pages and pages and it was all about appearing to love his wife. It's like it's like putting a court case together to prove that he loves his wife, rather than when you love your wife, you don't have to prove it. You don't have to document all the things you're doing.
Mm.
And but people in the vegetable stage need the appearance of love, and everything underneath it is not really important. That real love of day to day, being there for your uh, person and giving them what they need to grow
Wow,
them.
that's amazing to think about it in that way. With you know, I know a lot of people who do that. Um, yeah, my my ex-husband, would appear to people on the outside that he was great, and then he would be not so nice. People weren't surprised that he would throw things or he would get angry and yell, and he was really kind of uptight, except for when there was other people around. So yeah, I can totally see that.
And I'm thinking of, I was once at a restaurant with a friend who had brought a relative to have dinner with us. And she went off to answer a phone call, and I was left alone with the relative. And he starts telling me about his wife, whom he absolutely had adored, he said. Just an angel. And he said, everyone at church just loves my wife. She's so angelic. And then he started breaking out in a sweat. And he said, but she has this other side that comes out that is so scary that no one will believe me. And the fact that his voice was shaking and he was perspiring profusely, I believed him. And it was just someone in the vegetable stage where they have this really angelic appearance or lovely, personable, entertaining, whatever, likable. And then the opposite is in the unconscious, which comes out from time to time
Mm. Wow.
and really upsets our love lives.
It's confusing, really, a little bit.
If people don't know about it, yeah, it's devastating.
Hmm.
Especially this young man he couldn't get help anywhere. No one believed him.
Wow.
And that's why we can get information from everyone when we're open to all the different parts of our loved ones so we can help them grow.
Hmm.
So going into the next stage, which I call the animal stage, these are people that are very physical in their way of expressing themselves. Lots of hugs and kisses, flowers on Valentine's Day, candy, lovely, warm companionship, great intimacy, but they don't really do the emotional realm too much. Just, a little bit here and there, but they express themselves physically. And of course, we see that a lot in our culture.
Wow.
And then the next stage is what I call the child stage. And this is where people express their love through emotion. You can feel their love, it's oozing out of their hugs. It's just palpable.
Mm.
And there is a great need to help one another grow into embracing all those emotions that we've put aside. What comes to mind is so many people come to life as a healthy, whole soul, and they start having some trauma, some painful things. And what we do is we try to get rid of the pain
Mm.
and the painful part of ourselves. We can't get rid of the pain without forfeiting some part of ourselves. And then we might get rid of the parts that remember what happened, the trauma.
Mm.
Uh-oh, and then another trauma happens. Get rid of another part. And then losing parts of self, ouch,
Wow.
we grieve the loss. And we might want to get rid of this agonizing grief. So more loss. And this is what happens. We reduce ourselves, we become dehumanized, and every part that we've gotten rid of is no longer part of our growth producing life experience. So it stays stuck at a very young psychological age. And its behavior is true of the psychological age, not the body's physical age. And this is the condition of modern man, a reduced, dehumanized self that's stuck at young stages, at least in part. And
Wow.
I think this is who we are, and this is all that we are. And we're not aware that we have other parts that are just as human as we are. And they come out from time to time and express their life experiences.
Mm.
So the
How would that look? And when somebody does that.
well, like the man in the restaurant who his wife is an angel, absolute angel, but
Okay.
he has
Okay.
the devil inside that
Yeah.
and that no one believes exists.
Right. Okay.
This brings us to the stage of woman where we are so loving people that we want them to be whole. So we tell them about these parts so they might integrate them back into their lives. We don't deny them. That's a trait of infancy, closing the eyes and turning the head and pretending they're not there. But this is true, mature love is wanting people to return to wholeness.
Wow.
We truly are. a healthy whole soul. And it's
Mm,
actually the many difficulties we go through in life and all the painful relationships that force us back to wholeness because our healthy whole soul can handle anything our world can offer. And our reduced self cannot, easily devastated.
wow. Kind of need our soul.
We need our soul and we need the whole of our soul.
Yes. Yeah.
So I find that when we, let's say, meet someone who's stuck in the mineral stage, who has learned that hate is love and love is hate, that experience can move us to embrace any mineral parts within us. And sometimes we need that kind of force to
Mm,
get us to look at these painful parts of our lives, painful parts of ourselves, that, avoiding pain is kind of natural. But love, true love, will take us into our pain in order to get out of it ultimately.
mm,
But the younger stages, oh no, that's painful. I don't want to hurt my loved one. But sometimes we have to have pain, right? Growing pains.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good thing for all of us to know is that through the stages, we're going to have to deal with our pain from the past to go to another level. And that's a good thing to know,
Mhm.
be aware of that, it's not all going to be roses and sunshine.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Anne.
Yeah, we have to be able to embrace all that is here and all that's out here to be whole. That is wholeness. And I find most people don't realize that we ourselves are the ones that are rejecting our wholeness by saying, no, I won't go there. I won't talk about that. I won't deal with that kind of person, rather than being soulful in where we are to go, who we are to interact with. And I'm thinking of one particular person, since this is Valentine's Day, that I was actually told by a friend that I needed to date. And I don't want to date anyone right now. And oh no, I'm getting a divine download, and you need to be dating. So fighting, fighting, fighting. I finally agreed, and the person ended up absolutely helping me resolve my father issues. At the end of the relationship, I felt clear of this nemesis who just been such a mineral stager in my life. And he too evolved. And to me, that's a healthy relationship.
Mm.
Both people are evolving.
So you're saying this new guy was kind of at that stage and you both evolved through it? Is that how that worked?
He had some aggressive tendencies. And
Okay.
so through that, he wasn't as violent as my father for sure. I wouldn't have dated him, but um, I was able to work through my violent father through interacting with him, and he was
Oh.
able to open up to his pain. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of an interesting thing. People so often think that forgiveness is you go to forgive, yeah, over. When this man, we hadn't dated for a while, called me up and said, I realize I didn't treat you to the best of my abilities. Will you forgive me? And quick prayer, I was told, no, you're not to forgive him at this time. So I told him no. And I guess it was many months later, he came to where I was giving a workshop, drove 17 hours to see me. And after the workshop, he got on his knees and cried,
Oh.
said how sorry he was, and apologized and asked for forgiveness. And this time my soul said, now you can forgive him. He had
Mm.
gone to that deeper layer because he was just recreating his trauma that
Yeah.
he had received from his own father. And he was able to feel his feelings rather than motivate me to feel his feelings by treating me badly. He was able to finally feel his own feelings about how his father had treated him.
Wow, that's a beautiful story. It almost brought me to tears. That's beautiful.
So relationships, to me, we have our picture of what they're meant to be, but to me, they're meant to grow each person. And it's not so much that they last forever in bliss, but they accomplish what they're meant to accomplish, which is soul growth.
I love that. So, in other words, what I'm hearing is it's another opportunity to heal our bodies and our soul kind
Mhm.
of simultaneously by allowing ourselves to feel the pain and maybe even, like you said, relive it to some extent to bring the healing and then to forgive. That's just a beautiful way to look at it. I love that.
Yeah, and so often we have an inner 2-year-old that's no, I won't go there.
Mm-hmm.
I won't feel the wounds. I won't go to the pain. But to me, maturity is about that complete fluidity that I'm willing to feel pain if it's somehow instrumental to everyone's growth.
Mm-hmm.
Very different from nope, 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 nope. And that ends so many relationships when people are unwilling to grow. It just hurts my heart. To me, growth is such a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I see it like they kind of put a wall up over their heart and they just won't go there because they don't want to feel the pain. But I think being aware that you're going to feel pain makes it easier to embrace and that there is some painful stuff from our past and our childhood, even things we said to ourselves, even um, how we think of ourselves. And the other thing that comes to my mind just right in this moment is we have to love ourselves before we can love another. And I don't know what stage that would be at, but definitely makes sense that you can't love another or receive more than what you can love yourself.
Well, I find sometimes people love others first in the sense that their love of another and the other person's love of them teaches them to love themselves. I've
Oh,
seen it go in both directions.
I
Um,
think so too. I think that makes sense because and part of me, my journey was self acceptance, like loving myself no matter what, no matter my weight, no matter my how I appear to myself in the mirror, and just loving, just being grateful that I have arms and legs and they work. Yeah.
yeah, love's quite a journey.
Mhm.
Fully love ourselves to fully love others and just to care for all of life. To me, when we lack self-love, it always shows up with some sort of destruction somewhere. Um, Either hurting animals or not taking care of the environment. There, it shows up somewhere. And why does anything not deserve love? I think everything deserves love.
I agree. And while you're on that topic, it made me think of the guy that does the water, and I always just remember his last name's Moto. Do you remember his name?
I think it's Emoto.
Emoto.
That
He talks about putting love on water or hate and how it changes the molecular structure just with our thoughts and how we are. And I just think that's um, if you haven't seen his work, I would highly recommend looking it up because it's so visual. And usually, so many things aren't visual with love. I mean, some of it could be visual, but some could be unseen, right?
Absolutely. And one final story. I was once at a meeting and I had just eaten lunch, so I grabbed the sandwiches and ate them later for dinner. And it was the best sandwich I'd ever tasted in my life. So much so that I had to go to talk to the woman who made it at the deli the following day. And I said, "What did you put in that sandwich?" And she said, "Oh gosh, cold cuts, mayo on French bread, lettuce, tomato." No, no, no. There was some special ingredient. Was it herb spread or what was it? It was just gorgeous. She said, the special ingredient. That would be love. I love to make sandwiches and you can taste it.
Oh, yeah.
Good. So
I've heard that said too. I love that, Anne. That's amazing. Yeah.
we're working on that in our healing community. We're
Mhm.
on mutual evolution, helping people to grow in their soul development and teaching people skills that they can go back to their families and communities and help everyone grow, which has to impact our nation.
Mhm.
So, you want to speak a bit more about our community?
Well, I just want to say before I do that, I was going to say that love is one of the highest vibrations. I think it is the highest vibration. So if you're into frequency and healing, what better strive to get to the place where you're pure love and imagine the world
Mm.
where pure love. How beautiful that will be. And it's very possible, especially through community. So we invite you to our community. We do a community call on, what was it, the 17th of this month
Monday.
at 6:30 Pacific time, right?
It is 6 Pacific, 7,
Okay, 6. I'm traveling, so
8,
my time zones are all messed up.
8 Central, and 9 Eastern.
Yes, and we look forward to you joining us. The last two calls have been amazing, and they're all a little different and have their own little vibe depending on who shows up. And we just welcome you to come to that. And if you want to reach out to me, the best way right now is through my phone and text me, say, I wanted more information. And again, it's Thayne Westerman, and my phone number is 425-345-3953. And if you have any questions, just be welcome to call me and say, I've got a couple questions. And if we need to jump on the call, we can. If we need to do it just through text, that's fine too. And Anne, do you want to give them your information?
Yes, and to invite you to my website, annredelfs.com, because there I have the stages of soul development and a quiz. How old is your soul? So I recommend you take the quiz with your loved one and make a plan for growing one another. That's what we're here to do.
What a beautiful gift, Anne, for Valentine's Day to do with your special person. And if you don't, just do it by yourself. I think that's a great gift. And thank you so much. I'm excited to take it myself.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
And until next time, I'm Anne Redelfs.
Bye. Happy Valentine's Day.